I write letters to my future self. I received one this week, and suffice it to say, it nearly brought me to tears. I had a very rude awakening when I turned 22, and I decided that I would become a better person for my future self. I decided to write those letters as a pastime. I was also curious about what kind of reaction I would get when I would read one. It reminds me of those tales when people sent bottled letters across the ocean. I didn't know what to write myself at that time, but I knew the general direction of just getting better. I figured that he would be proud of what I managed to achieve this year, the people I've met and made friends with, the experiences I had. It reminded me to keep going and keep suffering today, so that my future self could say thank you. This letter reminded me that the process is just as important as the end result. And it's those moments of struggle and frustration that make the results all the more rewarding. So, what do I have for you today, my fellow creatives? I challenge you to embrace the struggle and enjoy the process. It's easy to get caught up in the end result and forget about the process. But as a creative, the process is where the real magic happens. It's where you learn, grow, and develop your skills. When you stress about the end result, you rob yourself of chance of immersing yourself in the creative process. It happens the most when you compare yourself to another person. You see all of their accomplishments, but you don't really notice the behind the scenes. You see the result, but not the years of consistency that it took to get there. You see the events of the process, not the process. If you try to skip the process, you'll never experience events. Today, most of us have "I want it now" mentality. We glorify the events, but forget about the importance of the process. Do you see where I'm going with this? And that's a recipe for disaster for any long-term goal you will have.
I will try going to the gym when I get jacked.
I'll stop loving myself when someone watching me back.
I'll stop loving my arms when it becomes popular.
Chances are, you had a variation of this thought when starting a new habit. Unfortunately, the world or universe doesn't work like that. You can't brute force yourself into success if you don't enjoy the process. There is a small chance that it will happen, but I really don't recommend it. We don't want to end up burned and discouraged from the beginning. Understand that each new habit is a lifestyle change. Going to the gym, starting a new diet, beginning to love yourself are all lifestyle changes. And what do you think doing art, design, or any other hobby is? A lifestyle change. It's something that you do on a regular basis. It's something that you feel passionate about. Something that you cannot live without. It's your way of life. So, why do you tell yourself that you don't enjoy the process of living? I want to touch on another pain point for creatives. Nowadays, with the rise and changes to the social media, to become recognizable and popular, artists need to make content that usually doesn't translate well to the aspiring creators, who feel like this is a chore that gets in the way of creating. And it's not like we can do anything either. The world is slowly moving in that direction. The majority of people enjoy scrolling on TikTok and YouTube. We can cry all we want about the
Evils of the algorithm.
how it's not fair that our art is not being noticed, and that we are just treated as cogs in the machine. A person always has a choice on how to react to something. You can either see something as an opportunity or as an obstacle. While fellow artists are saying that building a personal brand is a chore and that they just want to draw, I see an opportunity, and I hope that with this video I can give you a different perspective. Sure, many artists are shy and would love to spend the rest of their lives in their art caves. Believe me, I'd love it too. But social media, with all its problems and drawbacks, is an incredible tool to build an audience for your art. Art is part of our lives. Can you explain why you feel obligated to make content for your art? Do you feel like your life isn't worth sharing? I had a desire about making a YouTube channel for about 3 years now. I wanted to share my process, connect, to build a strong knitted community of like-minded people. Why couldn't I start earlier, you might ask? It's because I felt that my life wasn't worth sharing, that nobody would care about my art, what I had to say, or my overall artistic journey. I saw it as an obstacle.
Why bother? Nobody would care.
We have all become desensitized by the social media. If you think about it, Having a crowd of 600 people is a lot in real life, but it means practically nothing to us as numbers on our social media profiles. It's because we've become obsessed with the idea of perfection and validation. We feel like our lives aren't worth sharing if we don't have a certain number of likes or followers, or if our lives aren't perfect, but you won't reach an audience of 10,000 people on any social platform if you don't feel like it. This is a dangerous mindset to have, as it can lead to lack of authenticity and creativity. It's a weird question, is it not? How can enjoying the process can benefit us, the creatives? For starters, it lays a foundation that we won't quit after just a few months. When you enjoy the process, you're more likely to take more risks and push boundaries. You're not afraid of making mistakes, because in the end, you know that it's all part of the journey. You allow yourself to fail, and this is where creativity thrives. And nowadays, creating a following for your art is easier than ever. We have the ability to connect with people across the whole world, to find people who love and appreciate us for who we are, to cultivate a community of like-minded people. For me, overcoming the obstacle of showing myself online was not about writing this script or filming this video. It's reassuring myself that there are people out there who need to hear those words. And I am sure that you, my fellow creative, have something to share with this world, be it an amazing artwork, an amazing idea, a life hack that nobody knows, or being relatable to someone who needs it at their darkest hour. Above all, remember to only look at your past self. Social media is a highlight reel, and it's not a true representation of your worth as a creative. Focus on your own growth and development, and the rest will fall into place. But with that said, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment. I would appreciate a like and subscribe if you found this relatable. Pick up your pen and start drawing.
Bye.